Spencer. Maryann, welcome to the program.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so it says you are an award-winning screenwriter, producer, author, print and TV lifestyle journalist. What do you do in your spare time?
Cook.
Cook.
I love to cook. Writing and cooking are my favorite things.
Those are your favorite things. Okay, so we're going to talk today about gratitude and how that impacts our health, our personal well-being. So jump right in. Tell me what you believe.
I think every morning when you get up, it's important to thank the Lord for getting up and having another day and being able to enjoy it. And what I like to do, I say a prayer, but I also go over the things that I'm thankful for. And sometimes I can do that just thinking about it. Other times I might want to write about it. And as a writer, one thing that I love to do the first thing in every morning is just to pull out a diary or a piece of paper and do stream of consciousness. And in that, you can go over the things that are meaningful to you, the people that you love and care about. And when you start off your day in a positive way like that, it just uplifts you for the whole morning. And really, it stays with you all day long because you're conscious. You're actually going over the things that you're grateful for. And I think that can impact your day.
Well, I tell people that if they will do that, I guarantee it will make their day better.
Absolutely.
Okay, so why does gratitude have such an impact on us? What do you think is going on?
I do believe that it can actually change the chemistry in your body. And I like to say that there are several things that can do that besides what you're eating, the clean food that you should be eating and is good for you, but also, movement. I have a Simply Delicious Living blog where I kind of share different recipes. I call it For Life. And basically I go over not only giving gratitude and the importance of that, but what you eat, movement every day, exercise, what you're thinking, because I think all of those things play into our body chemistry that impacts us emotionally and physically and just spiritually.
Okay, and now the cooking that you do, the recipes that you do, when you talk about healthy food, are there things that you avoid?
Well, I'll tell you, it's very simple. Sometimes we make everything very complicated, but you eat lots of fresh fruits and vegetables, or you can even eat frozen fruits and vegetables. But I always tell people, look at the labels. And if there's ingredients that you can recognize, like if you're eating, let's say, fruit compote, you want it to say peaches, apples, blueberries. You don't want it to say lots of long words that you can't even pronounce.
Okay, so if I can't pronounce the word, I shouldn't eat it.
Probably not, or you might want to look it up in the dictionary to see what it really is.
So that kind of says a lot about the processed foods, because they all have all those additional ingredients to give it long shelf life, and that long shelf life works the opposite in my body. I'm going to die sooner if I eat it.
Well, I don't know I'm not a scientist, so I don't know that, but I do know that you can never be hurt by eating things that are fresh and natural. And I always like to do farm to table. I think in every community, there are ways where you can get fresh produce, or if you can't, you can get frozen produce. But I think it's important to eat food in its natural state as much as possible. And then, Google it, research, find out about these things. But it's important to have fresh fruits and vegetables. You definitely need to get your vitamins and nutrients from a colorful diet. I think you've probably heard about people talking about lots of color on your plate. That's really important. And I think sometimes I believe in having, when you're cooking, to grill things or to have things where you're not lading it with lots of oils and sugary and salty sauces. I think it's very important to use fresh herbs and all kinds of like fresh ingredients that are in their natural state. I find that I can create something in 30 minutes or less using lots of fresh ingredients with lots of herbs and spices, and it's so yummy. And it doesn't take a lot of time. I know everyone in these days, well, now we've been kind of homebound, but when people are actively working and they have a busy life, people might say, well, I can't cook or I don't know how. Well, that's what I do. My cooking, I have a little cooking show that airs on PBS TV in Southern California, but people can watch it on YouTube. And people also can watch it on my blog at alohawriter.com. And basically, they're how-to segments on how to make some quick, healthy, delicious food.
Okay. So I guess probably being homebound, as most of us were for the past year, could have helped us if we had known that we were supposed to be cooking meals instead of having the junk food delivered, or sticking with the old diet, the familiar.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's very important to, especially when you have the time and people are in their houses, and I don't know if they're in different climate zones, you have to be careful, because if you're just home and you're not exercising as much and not out and about, I know a lot of people that have put on some pounds during this time, because it's a lot of stress too, what we're all going through.
Okay, so what kind of food do you think is best for my overall health?
Again,
vegetables?
I think vegetables, fruits and vegetables, whatever is in season. You could even make a smoothie with frozen vegetables, or, having as much whole grains as possible. I like to make my recipes. If I want to make a bread or a muffin, I'll puree fruit. I don't use granulated sugar anymore. Once in a while, I might use a packet or two of stevia, which is organic sugar. But otherwise, I find that if I puree fruit and use different kinds of ingredients where natural flavors and things like that, it tastes just as good. And actually, I also think in doing so, you're kind of like limiting your cravings. I find the more fruits and vegetables I eat, or the healthier I eat with less salt and sugar, I can't really tolerate it. I don't even want all the bad stuff anymore.
Okay.
And so
can we delve into that a little bit deeper? Because we have cravings, and generally the craving is for the sugar or other junk food. Got to go down and get my hamburger and fries. How do I get rid of those cravings?
I think when you start cleaning your food bin out, what I did, because I used to eat different foods and have cravings. I don't seem to have that anymore. But for the last couple of years, I looked in my cabinets, and I got rid of anything that I couldn't pronounce. Let's put it that way. Ingredients I couldn't pronounce. And I try to go shop at local farmers markets. It helps the local economy. It helps our environment, but loading up on fruits and vegetables and making sure that my plates are colorful. Like for lunch, I might have a salad, and I roast vegetables, and I might throw in a host of all kinds of different vegetables. And, the meals that I put on my blog, I have a lot of meals that you can choose your protein, whether it be grilled fish or grilled chicken or a tempeh or tofu if you're a vegan. So, I find that right now, by eating clean, I would say, and watching what you're eating and reading ingredients, you can get rid of a lot of those cravings. And when you eat whole foods, for example, if you have a breakfast of oatmeal and maybe some fruit or some nuts on that, that's going to hold you over. I find, for me, at least until lunch. And at lunch, if you have a beautiful salad with whatever kind of protein you like, and the salad's interesting, you could put garbanzo beans in there. You might put some black beans, some Persian cucumber, a little bit of red onion. Make it fun and change out the textures and tastes and herbs and spices, and you're going to find that you're really satisfied. And I also find that if you eat a few hours, like every so many hours, like instead of three huge meals a day, or some people skip meals and they'll have one big huge dinner like at 8 o'clock at night. I think if you space out and you're constantly having your food work for you as energy, and meaning like you'll have a small, a breakfast, and then maybe about 10 o'clock you might have a piece of fruit, or you might have a handful of almonds or something like that, and then have your lunch. And then mid-afternoon, you have another healthy snack. It might be some celery with a little peanut butter on it. And then you have your dinner. And if you can also have eat earlier rather than later, I would say eat around 6, the latest probably 7. You don't want to eat at night watching TV before you go to bed, because you want to give your body a chance to digest what it has and rest. And science has shown that if you don't eat after dinner and you wait till the next morning for a certain number of hours, that you're actually going to be doing your body a service, and you'll find that you can lose weight that way too. I think you can lose weight when you eat healthy and you eat a lot of fruits and vegetables and you're watching your carb intake, but it doesn't have to be painful.
Okay, so now you talked about the color that you got on the plate. I kind of like red and white, which is a nice juicy steak with a baked potato and lots of sour cream. You're suggesting maybe I should pick some other colors?
Yes,
like
please.
Yellow and green.
Yellow and lots of green. That's really good for you because it has a lot of nutrients, and they say green leafy vegetables are very good antioxidants and fighting cancer. I'm not reinventing the wheel with this. It's like, it's what the Mayo Clinic says, and, what all kinds of research shows is that if you eat lots of fruits and vegetables, I keep going back to fruits and vegetables, it's so important. And you had mentioned burger, like having a burger and fries. I created this recipe. You're going to laugh, but it tastes so yummy, and it's much better to me than a burger. But I make it with black beans, garbanzo beans, and I shred some carrots and zucchini, and I put it together with, I know it's going to sound strange, peanut butter. I saute onions and peppers, and I put it all together with a little bit of almond meal. It kind of forms a patty. And I put different spices like curry spices and maybe a little bit of a chipotle seasoning. And I mix it all together and I make it like a patty. And it is delicious on a bun with grilled onions. I mean, You'll never want hamburger. And it's all good for you. And it's a lot of vitamins and nutrients.
All right. What about the bun that you make? Now, do you make your own buns?
No. I'll tell you, I found one. Ezekiel muffins are awesome.
Ezekiel muffins?
Yes, you can get them at the store. They're usually in the freezer. And it's the Ezekiel is a biblical reference to how they did a lot of their wheat products. And it is so delicious because they're nice. It's whole grains. And it's an English muffin, but it's you just put the burger right in the middle. It's so yummy because it has so many textures. I'm a big thing. I love different crunches, different textures and tastes, and it really it's just fabulous. Whether you're having a vegetarian burger or whether you're having meat or chicken, it's just a wonderful wonderful muffin that I like to use. Although you could use a regular muffin, but I don't really spend a lot of time baking bread. If I'm going to cook I'll do a cake, or I might do muffins or bread, but I usually leave hamburger muffins to organic, whole grain, store bought.
Okay. Okay. Let's go back. Let's go back. I want to have you go through this one more time because it actually kind of piqued my curiosity. I'm looking at ways to improve my diet, and unfortunately, I wasn't eating hamburgers and fries. But yes, lots of red meat and baked potatoes, sour cream, those kinds of things that are good to me. I don't care for a lot of vegetables. To me, there's corn, and then there's corn. But
That's corn.
the mixture that you put this together with, run through that again for us, because that sounded like a good way for me to get some of the vegetables that I normally wouldn't eat.
Sure. First, I'll tell you what I do exactly. I chop up some onion and I saute it in a pan on the skillet on the stovetop with maybe a little bit of chopped garlic. Then I'll add in bell pepper. I might do green, red, yellow. Sometimes I'll get a frozen mix of bell peppers and I'll put that in if I'm lazy and I don't want to dice up the peppers. And then I cook that. I just saute it a little bit. And then in a bowl, I julienne, or I say shred, and you can have a little shredder or you could use a mandolin. And I do that to carrots and zucchini, like one zucchini, and I'll put that in a bowl. I'll put my onion and pepper mixture in there. I'll take a can of organic garbanzo beans. I'll wash them off. Take a can of black beans, wash it off, and I actually put them on parchment paper and I dry them out a little bit for 10 minutes in the oven because they'll be too moist otherwise. And then I put them all into the mix with a couple tablespoons of peanut butter. And then I'll put in my spices. And, tell people to taste things as they do it, but I'll put in maybe a tablespoon of curry spice, a tablespoon of Italian seasoning, because I just put Italian seasoning in everything, a teaspoon of garlic powder, a little bit of chipotle because it gives it a kick. Chipotle, it's a dry chipotle, and mix it all up. And then with a little bit of coconut oil in the skillet on the stovetop, I'll form a patty and I'll cook it for a couple minutes, brown it on both sides. I might use Bragg's amino acids on it because that just tastes good and it kind of brings out the flavor. And because I don't really like to use a lot of salt, but I will use that because it has amino acids. And it's just great if you're having a vegetarian kind of meal like that. And then I'll serve it with some grilled onions on top, maybe a fire roasted red pepper. You could put avocado, and then I'll put that on an Ezekiel bun. It is so delicious. I am not kidding. I'll send you the recipe when we're done.
I was hoping you were going to think of that.
I will. And you can even make your own fries. Either sweet potato, regular potato. You could peel the potato and kind of slice it till it makes a fry. Put it in a little coconut oil, put it in the broiler for maybe 30 minutes. And you might want to put a little bit of garlic powder. If you want a little garlic salt, you could put it on it. And then you'll make your own fries that way. You'll broil it, but it's not going to be deep fried.
Okay.
That's
all right.
better to do.
I don't need the fries, but a lot of our viewers would probably be happy to hear about the fries. And if you're making them out of sweet potatoes, that's more healthy than a white potato.
It's, everything in moderation, but I think that there are so many wonderful ways to really enjoy a meal, and vegetables can be delicious. I know growing up, we were made to eat our peas and carrots, and sometimes I rebelled, but in my later years as an adult, there are so many things you can do with vegetables, and I love I do test kitchens all the time. I'm constantly, that's one of the things I love to do after I'm writing my novels all day long. I love to go in the kitchen and just play in there and create recipes. And I have worked with different companies doing that over the years. And as a lifestyle food writer, I've worked with a lot of chefs and things like that. So I've picked up some tips and things that way, but I've always created my own recipes. You know, growing up, I grew up in a big Italian-Irish family. We love to entertain with family and friends, and I would always create recipes, and I'd write them down over the years until later I did my first cookbook, and I'm working on my second, which will be out next year. I love cooking. I love entertaining, and I think it's, you know, having a good, healthy meal and enjoying good conversations with family and friends. I mean, what's better than that?
Right. That sounds great. Well, Maryann, thank you for being with us today on the program, and don't forget to send me that recipe for
Absolutely.
that's something that I want to try immediately. And again, everybody, thanks for being with us today. You've been watching Real Hope with W.L. Laney. My guest, Maryann Ridini Spencer. Maryann, again, thank you for being on the program.
Thank you.